It's Carlos Augusto, who is 21 years old, signed from Corinthians in Brazil, who are not exactly an insignificant club in South America. And he was acquired on a 4-year deal, which, from what we were saying earlier, that there's, a lot of churn in Serie B in terms of players coming in and out. A 4-year contract seems, it bucks the trend, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, this is a transfer that I think says, we're going to get promoted. Carlos Augusto is a lovely player. I would urge people to actually, as a kind of very nice introduction into Monza's style of play, Carlos Augusto's goal against Ascoli, where there's a good bit of kind of quick interplay. Augusto gets put through into the sort of left half space, carries forwards ever so slightly, and then absolutely hoons it into the roof of the net. Is a lovely goal. And he's an excellent dynamic left back. He's a lot of Monza's approach width wise does come from their fullbacks. Barberis, who's the kind of deepest lying midfielder, tends to drop back and cover the centre halves so that the wing backs can push up high. But that is particularly the case on the left. Because Donati tends to sit a little bit deeper. But Augusto is very much this kind of modern left back. He's up and down the pitch. He's able to squeeze the ball through to runners coming from deep. He likes to get to the goal line and pull the ball back, which is a way that Monza score quite a lot of their goals. They're very much a high possession, high volume of passing kind of side. They don't dwell on the ball. They like to move it forwards, and these overlapping runs and quick pullbacks from Augusto are very much part of how they play.
I think it's an interesting one when you look at his physical profile as well, because you associate overlapping fullbacks who who like to get down the sides, get to the byline and cut it back as being sort of perhaps more diminutive. But Augusto's at least 6 foot. He performs quite well in the air defensively,
Yeah.
and he's pretty robust as well. His tackling seems to hold up pretty well. And as you say, Serie B is chock full of these seasoned veterans who aren't exactly too shy of shirking challenges. So he's very It's a very well-rounded profile, I feel.
Yeah, I've got him as 6'1", and you're right. He's able to ride challenges. He's got the physical capability to carry the ball through tight spaces without being buffeted around. I sometimes think with these, with the younger Italian players, sometimes that physical profile is what's lacking, and part of why they go to Serie B is to get toughened up a little bit. But if you're playing in the top tier of Brazilian football, you're going to be very, very well exposed to the physical side of the game. And I think that he's come in and immediately improved that left hand side attack. And they it's a very, I think you're right to highlight it in the sense that yes, okay, he's younger. But the profile of the transfer, the amount of money Transfermarkt have it being a £3.6 million fee. It's their second biggest investment after Mirko Maric in the most recent transfer window. Maric is a lovely player, by the way. Someone that we highlighted last summer when Tifa and The Athletic teamed up to do sensible transfers. Really, really nice, interesting striker. But I think this is kind of the extent to which Monza are slightly stepping away from the classic Serie B model. There are a couple of these acquisitions that hint towards a longer term sense of, we'll get promoted this season and then we seek to establish ourselves in Serie A. And it would be great if we had at least 2 or 3 of these younger players that weren't on loan, that were tied down to us, who can help that transition, but are already part of the team and already experienced. Because what you don't want to do is get promoted. I mean, I'm sure they probably will do this, but that you don't want to get promoted and then spend a huge amount of money trying to bring in players that elevate the quality of your squad, because those players don't have long enough to bed in. Whereas Augusto is going to be very used to the system. He's going to be very used to his teammates. And that continuity, I think, will be very, very helpful if they do get promoted.
Well, he's settled as well. You know, he knows that on a 4-year deal, he's going to be staying in Italy a fair while.
Mm. Yeah.
And I do echo what you say about this being a we're going to get promoted transfer, because I think it would be very difficult to sell any other Serie B club to a player who was playing, you know, at least on a regular basis, maybe not starting every week at Corinthians. You know, he wasn't exactly a complete unknown plucked from Brazil. So I think it would have been a difficult sell unless the pitch point was, well, we're going to be promoted. You're going to be a Serie A player soon.
Yeah, and if they don't get promoted, then he's also potentially, for himself, he's put himself in the window for Italian clubs in a way that maybe wouldn't have happened had he stayed in Brazil. And also from a financial point of view, if Monza start to think, oh, we've put maybe a little bit too much money into this club, he's clearly going to be a saleable asset. So I think for the club and for the player, it works either way. Although obviously, they're both going to want promotion rather than not.